To buy or not to buy, that is the question. Today we're going to review Barenia by Hermes, a 2024 release, fairly fresh. A perfume that allegedly was kept in the debating room of Hermes headquarters for 10 years before it actually saw the light of day. We'll decode the controversy, we will do comparisons of potential dupes, and arrive at an inevitable conclusion. Dedicated to an iconic leather design of a bracelet and the very soft and supple type of leather that Hermes uses for it, Barenia, this fragrance has been designed by Christine Nagel, and the marketing fairy tale tells us that there was a long time before this fragrance particular composition that she was working on found its place on the global shelves of Hermes. So this is a designer release, should be available in all major department stores and kind of the points where you can try it for real without necessarily ordering blind. Therefore, the selling point and the price point should be questionably but affordable. What do we have here? Design to me is very laconic, rather simple, but very much in line with the original Barenia leather goods design that Hermes has offered. So conceptually very consistent. It is a snap lid, which to many is somewhat controversial because we're so used to magnetic lids. So haptic wise, this is fine. I don't have a problem with it. But the fact that this is such a small plastic lid is a little bit confusing how substantial and heavy the rest of the design is. So for me, there's a little bit of a design inconsistency here. Otherwise, everything is very nice. Nothing special in my view, but consistent with the idea of what Barenia should be about. I have bought it blind. I would not recommend to do that in general with perfumes. I don't have any justification rather than abundant curiosity. And luckily for me, I loved it from the first sniff. However, my view of what it smells like really changed throughout the few months that I've had it. So I am fairly well in. I've been using a lot of Barenia. I have a few decants that I placed in different purses for myself, so I don't have to carry the full-size bottle. And one of the biggest misconceptions about Barenia that I think is worth addressing straight up, that this is, even though this is by Hermes that is known for its leather goods, even though it's devoted to Barenia leather, which is very soft, supple leather, it is not a fragrance about leather. And I think that's what caused so much controversy and so much confusion, even with the professional fragrance reviewers who get a barrage of PR releases every month. Nearly everybody was confused. Why is this Barenia, but there is no noticeable leather accord, or at least as we know of leather accord. And frankly, there's no description of leather in the fragrance marketing campaign either. I hope that will settle at least some of the expectations or misconceptions that you might have going into considering to buy or not to buy. This is not a leather perfume. Whether you can allude to some kind of romantic rosy berry type of whiffs that could remind you of leather, be my guest. Associations, references are very personal type of journey. Yet I just want to again set it aside that there is no leather accord as we know it in perfumery in this fragrance. Just so you get a clearer view of what the brand is trying to say with the overall aesthetics, design, and stylistic message. So we get this typical, very Hermes-like, sort of luscious but very simple, very minimalistic, almost utilitarian stylistics of energy, of kind of being active and out in the world. And if we look at the way that they market, this is what we get. Skin as a scent. Very well crafted message. Simplicity of this kind takes a lot of work. Now to what actually matters. What's in the juice? They very clearly say that this is an imaginative skin-like shipper. Not the easiest concept to deliver on, because shippers is a very old type of perfume composition, is known for its almost abstract and very out there, not skin-like contrasting qualities. Shipper is always something sour, sweet, sour, bitter, sour, green, mossy, plus some kind of either powderiness or sweetness that creates a delicious contrast to those components, which historically were patchouli, moss, and things of that nature. So to make a shipper that is skin-like, it's kind of an inherent contradiction. They did try. The way that they pursued it, that they made the patchouli accord that is classical for all shipper compositions so balmy and so almost the creamiest smoke-like. If you ever used electronic cigarettes or vaping, the kind of smoke that produces is very dense, very creamy. So imagine if patchouli could be condensed into that kind of smoke. It's almost like pot. You know, if you enter a room where people have been smelling marijuana for a long time, it gets this kind of herbaceous, voluminous, but not oily type of smell. The smell that gives you just this very almost souffle in the air type of effect. So imagine the patchouli could be so condensed in the air that it's almost like a cloud surrounding you. That's how it feels. It's not very juicy. It's not green. It's not too herbaceous. It's almost like a cloud, like a souffle of patchouli. And the way that they contrasted it is with miracle berry, or as they say, a surprising note of miracle berry with delicacy of butterfly lily. I find this to be a very good type of marketing description. It fits the narrative and what I feel very well. However, when I was wearing this scent for the first time, I noticed berry the most. So to me, it was a new chapter in the berry scent design, which I'm very excited about because I feel it's about time we reinvent the berry profile in perfumery. It's really, really hot. I think 2025 deserves more reincarnation, or at least promoting of various berry scents. Anybody who's interested in the berry scent overview, leave a comment below. However, with time, the more it opens up, the more I feel of this bohemian kind of pot like a rose. And that immediately brought me in the wear to my favorite bohemian, relaxed, kind of high as sky rose, which is Holyrose by Room 1015. And let me tell you, when I wore them, one on each hand, in their heart, I stop distinguishing them. Like, I can't tell one apart from the other. Even more so on a blotter than on my skin. On my skin, they do diverge a little bit. I did test it in warm and cold weather and found that in cold weather, I have much a punchier berry-like opening, while in the warm weather, or let's say in the enclosed room, it's way more fleeting, and this voluminous souffle of patchouli kind of overtakes the composition a little bit. But if you wear it outside, In a more chill weather, you will get way more of these the delicious, sour, juicy berry kind of piercing through the comforting and relaxed patchouli cloud. And again, I'll probably have to keep repeating myself because patchouli has such strong associations with something scratchy, green, maybe even sour or mossy. Here, you have to imagine like a souffle cake that is kind of patchouli, or another reference is pot, if you're in a cloud of pretty much marijuana smoke. I adore it. I find this contrast to be strong enough to be noticeable and deliver this delight when you whiff it in, but soft enough to actually be cohesive with the promise that it's skin-like shipper. That said, in the heart, this fragrance started to remind me so much so of my favorite bohemian high as a sky, I don't have to go to work type of rose, which is Holyrose by Room 1015. This is pretty much trust fund baby as far as I can see it. The trust fund baby who pretends to be a hippie, pretty much. Holyrose has the same patchouli / pot smoke cloud that is way more centric about luscious, somewhat lipstick-like rose. And the more I compared them on my skin and on blotters, the more they kind of meet at the heart. After about 30-40 minutes, when I was doing blind testing with blotters, I couldn't tell which was which. At the beginning, they are very different. But in their heart, they become like twins. And it's not something that upsets me, oddly enough, because I find this type of potty, bohemian, kind of hippie rose that doesn't go toward essential oils, which is very commonly the associations or the kind of interpretations we get in perfumery when it comes to bohemian or hippie culture. When it's very elevated, very thinly weaved, souffle-like cloud of somewhat baked patchouli, if you wish. Baked souffle of patchouli. Go figure. This is rare. This is very hard to execute. I've tried dozens and dozens of patchouli roses, and only Holyrose to this day could really deliver me to that destination, and now Barenia too. I dare say there is something of a rosy roundness in the Barenia's heart that makes it so comfortable and very sensual. To say that this is purely a feminine release and cannot be unisex, I can't say that. I feel, the berry sourness and the overall delicate, thinly weaved, friendly character of this perfume makes it, to me, incredibly unisex. It's just, if you like that kind of my skin but better type of scent that gives you these delightful sparkly whiffs, but otherwise it's not really imposing, it's not really carrying itself through on you. Some fragrances very clearly make a statement. They are not you, it is you wearing them. This really aims at both delight you with a little bit of a kind of sparkly whiffs, as I call it. Like, you get a little bit of a whiff and you're like, that's a cool scent. But then you forget about it and you still feel like it's just you being so you. You're in a good day. I think it's genius in that respect, that it walks this line between giving you a perfume experience and not really separating from you, so much so that there's you and there is a fragrance. It blends very well. It's like a good mood that enhances the way you are in the world. I fell in love with Barenia. I was very fortunate blind buy. That said, if you are more into soft, luscious / rosy, I would say Holyrose absolutely delivers and more on that promise. And they do smell very similar in the heart. But if you want a little bit of a kick, just a little bit of that shipper light of tartiness that we love about shippers, the berry accord here compliments to the chef. And yet they did tame it down right to that borderline. Is it shipper? Is it not? Is it? Is it not? It's very, very tame. It's indeed almost very balmy on the skin. That got me thinking about all kinds of berry scents that I would actually compare Barenia with, and whether, if this is not enough for you and it just got you more in the mood for berries, but you can't quite figure out what else could be out there, I'll give you a few suggestions as well. Healing Berry by Jorum Studio, niche brand, highly reputable, and I got a sample from my subscriber. Much more toward cranberry and gooseberry. And there is a little bit of a twist here with the berry scent that is somewhat annoying to me. It's this some kind of medicinal sweetness. I don't know what it is. But Healing Berry by Jorum Studio, to me, is much more cranberry gooseberry with some kind of medicinal syrup that probably would be super comforting for some if that reminds you of your childhood. To me, it just like gets me turned away from it just a little bit. I will gladly wear it because I'm all about berries this year. I don't know why. It is definitely one of the trends I'm going to be on the lookout for this year. Anything berry, anything that mixes berry with other components. But Healing Berry is an interesting niche take. It just wouldn't be my first pick. If I went down that rabbit hole of like what is like Barenia but more berry, I would go with Jacques Fath and their Red Shoes fragrance. Also, thanks to my subscriber, now I have a decant. And if you want to send me something for review, the address is down below in every video. Now we're getting somewhere. I feel like this is much closer to what I wish Barenia could be as a more prominent berry scent. And what I do, I wear Barenia. After 30-40 minutes, the berry, at least to my nose, is fully gone. And I just apply Red Shoes on top of it because Red Shoes, as many of the Jacques Fath scents, suffers from the disease, not disease, it's by design. It's very watercolory. And sometimes I feel like it needs a bit of a denser base in order to intrigue me more, in order to make me fall in love with their compositions. So when I combine Barenia with Red Shoes, I get that kick, the very, very even kick of berries on top of this delightful cloud of patchouli souffle, very pot-like. By itself, wonderful even berry scent, and if you can find it cheap, I think Jacques Fath, every once in a while you can find it cheap in gray markets, but it kind of comes and goes. Even full size, I would dare say it's fairly affordable. If you want to introduce yourself to just a not generic, but general, well-rounded berry scent, I would go for Red Shoes, at least in my opinion. This is the perfect place to start because it's not any one berry in particular. It's just this very delightful, averaged, sour, sweet berry accord. I put Red Shoes on top of Barenia most of the days. But that is not even all. I was thinking about what kind of fragrances that would deliver on the skin like luscious, very Hermes aesthetic, minus the berry, just in case you're not a big fan. Obvious choice for me is Holyrose. I told you no other fragrance that I've tried, and I've tried dozens, has delivered on the bohemian, this kind of high as a sky rose as Holyrose by Room 1015. However, there is another close second. That would be Dusita Rosarine. Not my favorite fragrance. I'm just gonna, put it out there. But it approaches the rose in a very similar fashion. It is well rested. It is quite voluminous, cloudy, and I don't want to say it's vintage. There's something about Rosarine that to me is like baby boomer money. If you are super filthy rich in the golden era of rock and roll, like 60s, 70s, that's to me is like baby boomer money. I don't know why. A bit for me. It's a bit, I wouldn't say cloying, it's not annoying. It's just floats on a much lower frequencies that I would prefer for a berry fruity rose. However, it definitely does deliver on the vibe. To me, it's 60s, 70s kind of easy life on, nouveau riche, big money made very quickly, back in that kind of Hollywood era. When it comes to the most sophisticated trust fund baby getting high is Holyrose. No questions asked. If you are not into the berry accord in the Barenia, that said, great stuff. Question that I get fairly often every time I do a perfume review, but what about guys? I know marketing has been weeding out the weak in telling us what men can or cannot wear. I respectfully, strongly disagree. However, if need be, if you feel that you have to hide your love for berries and skin like shippers, first of all, I would just recommend get a decant, put it in a 5 ml little bottle, nobody will know. Second, if still a bit much for you and you want it a bit toned down with the masculine accords that everybody recognizes them there, but still in the same vein, so to speak, Barenia for him, I would go with Hommage L'Homme by Lalique. Very masculine body, like no questions here, okay? Right? Your masculinity is safe. I do wear it for myself though. Scandalous, I know. And yet, luckily, at least in the world of food, which is 70% scent, nobody's ordering for feminine cucumber salad versus, masculine cucumber salad. So I will die on that hill of claiming that scent has absolutely no gender priority or marketing. But surely you can have certain subjective personal references that you associate with with your dad, with your football coach, or with your math teacher, with your mother. That absolutely does exist. We have to take it into account when we interact with other people, especially in the world of dating. You don't want to smell like like somebody else's mother, and also probably you don't want, if you're a woman, you don't want to smell like a football coach to your vis-a-vis. Here, the berry accord that I perceive to my nose, however, it's not necessarily listed. To me, it's created by another composition, the other components, which is kind of sour musk, sometimes with addition of violets or like other florals, can give you this a bit of a berry sweet sour twist that to me also sends me to the berry land, but more abstract. It's much more refined, kind of conserved, but it still, to me, does deliver on a similar promise while being, I wouldn't say fresher. There is bergamot and musk here. It's just the type of freshness or cleanness that we associate with white musks. Not necessarily soapy, rather than kind of juicy sour with somewhat of this, I would say it's a piney note. However, depending on your frame of reference, it's saffron, black pepper. It's like both slightly spicy, slightly sour, and slightly juicy. I love it. I wear it all the time. I do also combine it with other fruitier substances. Interestingly, now I'm thinking, should I try to combine this with Rosarine? Because I feel Rosarine needs a little bit of a sparkle. It needs a bit of a lift. And this could benefit from a warmer, more dense, more lavish heart. Shall we? Shall we try it? I think we should try it. I do hope I don't regret it. Okay. Hommage L'Homme by Lalique plus Dusita Rosarine. Obviously, the ratio does matter. Sometimes you want more of one and less than the other. I apply them in equal measure. Too much Rosarine kind of dominates everything, which is almost surprising. Because usually fragrances that are marketed toward men do have enough of a stink. They kind of dominate almost any composition if you layer them. This is why I buy fragrances marketed toward men if I like their bases, because their bases last forever comparatively to fragrances that are marketed toward women. And you can layer them with a lot of other more imaginative, more sophisticated, but less longer lasting scents. Did we get Barenia? Let's see. This is, if Barenia for you is too soft and too undefined, which it intends to be, because they say skin as a scent, this actually has way more projection and stronger facets. So oddly enough, not that you'll spend any less money by doing so. If you want stronger projection, longer lasting quality, but the same idea of a berry type of shipper, you can try Hommage L'Homme by Lalique plus Dusita Rosarine. Or vice versa, I would say Holyrose by 1015. I do think that I just love Holyrose so much. I feel it's sacrilegious to mix it with anything else. But since Hommage L'Homme and Rosarine, I do like facets of them, but not necessarily the whole thing. This is gonna be the scent of today for sure. That said, why reinvent the wheel where this exists? So happy with this purchase, an absolute buy. Unless you are in the camp of Ganymede, Love by Kilian, Baccarat Rouge, if you need a crazy amount of stink, the beast mode components in order to smell anything, if you have very low sensitivity of the nose, I don't know if you will even notice much. I dare say this has diffusion and projection. I love this scent. This is a very sophisticated scent. It has dynamic. It changes in time. It changes in space. It changes in the hot versus cold, wet versus dry climate. So I am at loss to why this is one of the narratives here, because to me, this is a triumph of sophistication that is palatable to a mass market, to a designer release. This is so hard to do. Usually, designer releases have to be so palatable and so well-rounded that they lose all individuality altogether. You can't tell anything apart. Not a single note stands out. Here, you get this quiet sophistication that you can pull apart certain flavors there, and yet it's still so nicely and softly wrapped together. It's like a well-knitted cashmere sweater of a fragrance with, in my view, woody berry profile that you can still study, that you can still notice, that you can still tell, as I said, pull apart, and yet it very nicely wraps together. Very sophisticated, available everywhere. I think this is a triumph for designer market. I'm a big fan, and if you want any kind of more berry, I would add a berry scent, for example, red shoes. That said, I have another berry scent that I've never tried to combine it with it because it has such a strong personality. Russian tea. It's more like a black currant with tea. If you're really into Scandinavian fairy tales, then maybe something with a gooseberry. Here I have Brokar, which is gooseberry with something else. It's like if you haven't never tried gooseberry, it's like cranberry but more odd. It has this very odd note in it. So pretty much you can make it more berry by layering your favorite either musk scent or berry scent on top of it. Or if you want to kind of leave the berry behind, but you want that luxurious bohemian heart, Holyrose Rosaline, absolutely gonna deliver it. And Rosarine with Hommage La Homme. I feel like I should post it as a duo for those who want to try, because this is a bomb. This is quite a revelation for me, and it's not that easy to surprise me these days. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know how Barenia was for you. I'm definitely in the camp of spectacular if you read what they're trying to do. Skin as a scent. Berry shipper. It's delightful. In my book, it's delightful, and I'm so glad that 10 years of trying to find a place for this profile finally landed with Hermes. I can't think of a better brand to embody, to give it a full, multifaceted, multisensory design to this olfactory profile. I think Christine Nagel outdid herself. That said, curious of what your thoughts on it are. What do you compare it with? And what do you think about berry? Should we designate berry as one of the trends for 2025? Can't wait to hear your thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does matter. I will be waiting for your comments, and I will see you in the next video.